Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm back with another hangout. I should have at least one more after this particular hangout. This is going to be a brief hangout. I want to wait till a couple of people join before I get started with this particular hangout. So just bear with me for those of you who are watching this as a recording. Yeah, so I have a couple of people on here, so I'm going to go right into it. I don't want to hold up those people who are here. So just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so the other day I saw this very disturbing story about a young girl, a Black girl who's only 9 years old, and she killed herself allegedly because she was subjected to racist bullying. You know, as pointed out in this article from Essence, you know, it talks about how this 9-year-old girl, and her name is McKenzie Adams. She was subjected to racial harassment and bullying at school, according to, you know, accounts from her family. You know, they say that this girl was found dead in the family home in Linden, Alabama. She hanged herself allegedly because of the level of harassment that she faced, according to the family. You know, she, according to these reports, she was bullied at another school, and then she transferred to this school called U.S. Jones Elementary School. And once she was there, she was harassed and bullied as well. And I'm going to go into this other article that provides a little bit more detail from the Washington Post. You know, it talks about how she wanted to be a scientist when she grows up. You know, she excelled in math. She liked to ride her bike and play with dolls and PlayStation. And it talked about how instead of celebrating Christmas, getting ready to celebrate Christmas and planning for Christmas, now her family is planning to bury her after she hanged herself. You know, apparently, according to her family, she was bullied because, you know, her daughter, you know, the daughter was driven home by a white family, and she had developed a friendship with a white boy. And because of that, she faced harassment. And it's unclear from the story if it was white students who were harassing her or Black students. You know, according to this report, and according to the family, she had been bullied the entire school year. People were telling her to kill herself. They were saying, you think you're white because you ride with that white boy. And that comment right there makes me think that it's possibly, you know, Black students who were harassing her, but it's unclear. And also they called her ugly. You know, they said that she should just die and things like that. And let me see if this other page has some other types of insults. They called her a Black bitch. You know, so all of this stuff was allegedly going on. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so this stuff was allegedly happening according to the family. And now the family has created a GoFundMe page and the McKenzie Foundation that will try to stop bullying in schools and stuff like that. You know, that's the whole purpose of that GoFundMe. But the school has a different response, you know, to this issue. You know, the school claims that they have no record of bullying. So despite the family's claims that this bullying had gone on for a year, you know, they have no record of such complaints being filed at the school. You know, the report also says that the school conducted an internal investigation and found no basis for the family's claims. Now, this could be a situation where perhaps, you know, the school is just, you know, covering up reports that they may have received, or maybe it's just a situation where their counsel is trying to defend them and is claiming falsely that there have been no records of bullying. But if this is in fact true, it raises serious questions as to what happened to this girl and why she would take her life, and why the family would possibly make up this story. This raises serious concerns. And then it also says that the police department conducted an investigation as well. It says that they have concluded their internal investigation. And they said that there have been no findings of any reports of bullying by either the student or the family. And it says that, this is, yeah, that's the school. The school said this. They said they conducted their internal investigation, and they didn't find any reports at all of bullying, any reports from the student or from the family. And it also says that that's consistent with the results of the investigation conducted by the police department. And the police department said that they were not able to confirm that she was bullied or at this particular point. It says that they talked to several officials at the school, and all of them said that they have no official report of any bullying. But it says that the family is sticking by their story. And I just wonder, like, what kind of concrete proof the family has that this type of bullying went on. What kind of proof did they have? And is this a potential situation where there's some kind of foul play and the parents are trying to win sympathy, or the family's trying to win sympathy by inventing this story? So this raises serious questions. And it's like, why would you allow your child to go through this for a whole year, this type of harassment? Why wouldn't you document it or prove that this is in fact happening, or do something proactive to prevent it from happening? There's no way that my daughters would be in some school where they're being harassed and bullied for a whole year and I don't take any kind of real action. And if you take some action, that action should be documented in some kind of way, like whether you're sending an email to the school, your record of calls to the school, your record of meeting with school officials. For instance, things like that get calendared. They should have a calendar of the meetings that the parents or the family have with these people, with these school officials. And who are the students? Like, have they identified? They didn't even provide any information about the students. And I understand, because of confidentiality, you don't want to have kids' names or whatever identified, but there's no identifying information. Like, there's nothing about like how many kids were involved, the race of the kids that were involved, or any of that stuff. So that raises serious questions. And I went to the, to the website for the school just to check it out. And I actually played this video, and I may include this link in the description box to this video so that you can see the school. This is in the South. Like, one thing that has to be taken in consideration, this is in the South, and we know about the South's history of racism, both in the past and even today. But this particular school is a diverse school. So you had a large number of Black students at the school and a good number of white students. So it seemed like it was very diverse. So in that type of environment, it seems like you would less likely have, an incident where somebody is being harassed in this kind of way. It seems like that would be less likely. And I assumed, like, when I first started reading the reports, that this school was, predominantly white or something like that. And it turns out it's very diverse. So that, again, like, causes me to view this particular story with possible skepticism. It's like, where is any proof that this girl was harassed based on her race? Where's the proof? All we have are hearsay statements from the family. So I would need to have more proof. And it's like, why would any family allow this stuff to continue if they know that their child is being harassed because, they're going to some, they had a daughter going to school with a white family? Why continue to do that and allow your daughter to be subjected to that kind of harassment? Why not take some kind of proactive action against the school, or report the school to the Board of Education, or do something? Where's the record of them having their daughter go to counseling or any of that kind of stuff? And this may be a true story. It may be an actual case of harassment. There may be a cover up, but these things raise serious questions in my mind. You know, why would you allow your kid to go to a school where they're being harassed? You know, if no action is being taken. And why, you know, in response to this talk about like how there's no record of anything, why not produce some record or some kind of information that will substantiate your claim that your child was, you know, racially bullied and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this story raises a whole lot of questions, man. It's just sad to see, you know, a 9-year-old girl kill herself under these circumstances. It's like, it's just sickening, man, that somebody that young would be so traumatized or so depressed to the point where they would actually take their life. You know, a 9-year-old. It's like, I wonder where would it, like, was there any like real intervention on these parents? Like, if they knew their daughter was that depressed, why didn't they do something? So let me see what you all are saying before I, oh, hold on. I'm still sharing my screen. All right. Yeah, this just raises a lot of questions for me, and I'll be back with another hangout real quick. But I want to go through your comments before I sign out. Shout out to Black First. Yeah, I noticed that you keep posting straight Black Pride. Yeah, I mean, it's Black Pride is, you know, that's positive, being Black, you know, pro-Black and all that stuff. That's positive. I salute that and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just wondering why, you know, emphasize the straight thing. Like, you know, why is that like an emphasis in your, when you post that? Because it's like, you know, if somebody's straight, like you don't have to, like, it's like, why do you need to announce it? Like, why, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Yeah, so somebody said she was bullied by, oh, by Black children because she had a white male friend. Yeah, because it was unclear. That's what I was assuming, and it was the case because it was like unclear from the article. They didn't, like, at least the articles that I read, they didn't say, you know, the race of the children, but that seems like more lot, like that seems to make more sense because, you know, they were saying like some of the statements included, you think you're white now because you got this white friend or whatever. It just seems weird to me, man. It really seems strange to me that you would have Black students harassing a Black student for having a white friend, especially at a school that's racially diverse. It doesn't make any kind of sense to me. Um, and especially at that young age, like it causes me to view the story with skepticism. But then again, it's possible. And I don't think, you know, obviously, I don't think anybody should be ostracized for simply having a white friend or for, you know, driving to school in a car with a white family. That's crazy to me, you know, that kids would harass somebody over something stupid like that. I mean, this whole story just has all kinds of red flags around it. You know, it raises suspicion to me. Like, it's hard for me to believe it, especially given the fact that there are no reports. Like, maybe if there's some evidence that comes forth, then maybe I would change my mind. And even with my suspicion, I'm not going to completely rule it out as being a false story in terms of, like, you know, the motivations behind why this girl took her life. It's just so sad. And I wonder if she had like any kind of journal. You know, often kids will have like a diary where they talk about their experiences. Like, I wonder if she kept anything like that. And, you know, it's just a tragedy, man. Here we are in the holiday season, and you got a young girl, 9 years old, taking her own life. It's crazy. Shout out to Jones. Yeah, so this person said she wasn't bullied by white children. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, that she probably wasn't, just based on the comments. Yeah, that's what she allegedly committed suicide for, a water sniper, because she was teased for having a white friend who was a boy. You know, And that's crazy. A 9-year-old kid teased for having a white friend, especially at a school where you have this integrated school where it's like very diverse. And if these allegations are true, it's disgusting. It's despicable, man. That some kids would harass somebody simply for having a white friend, for driving to school with a white family. That seems crazy to me, man. It doesn't make any kind of sense to me that somebody would harass somebody over that. Yeah, so yeah, that's a good point, big game. Like because of that title, it says racist bullying, you automatically assume that it's white kids that are responsible for the bullying. That's what you assume because we know, like, for the most part, that's where racism comes from in this country. It's at the hands of white individuals and white institutions. Um, so, the fact that they would call this bullying racist, like, gives you an impression that it's the white students who are responsible for this. Um, and he points out how they know that she was being bullied by black kids. Yeah, and that's something else, like how they and that's I'm just wondering why like the articles don't just outright say like identify the race of the kids who bullied her. Because with the title, it's like you would assume that she's a victim of white racism, but it turns out that more likely than not, it's black kids who were harassing her and who caused her to commit suicide, like, telling her to kill herself. And we hear stuff like that on social media all the time, people telling people to just kill themselves, just die and all that kind of stuff as a way to bully people. But yeah, that's sick, man. Nobody should be harassed because of who they choose to have as a friend. That's stupid to me. We're talking about a kid, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's just sad, man. I send my condolences to the family, but I just want to know, like, where's the evidence, man? Like, where's the proof that you lodged all these complaints with the school about this bullying? I've had situations where, years ago where my daughter had a problem with some students, and we actually sent emails to these people, to the school. We actually met with teachers and stuff like that. So if you had meetings with teachers, you would have a calendar record of it. They would have it on their calendar when they schedule these types of things. Often the teachers will write it on their calendar that they have an appointment with so and so's parents at X, Y, and Z time or whatever. And so there would be some kind of record. And, I think that it raises suspicions that there's no record, and you got the police department who conducted an investigation and they didn't find anything. That just makes me wonder what really happened to this girl and why did she do this? And even if she actually did commit suicide, like, it's a whole bunch of questions around this, man. Um, yeah, it definitely could be some foul play, man. That's one of my concerns, but we never know. Yeah, so Water Sniper said, regardless of this story, interracial mixing and dating is prohibited. This is a 9-year-old girl. I mean, this is not somebody that's quote unquote dating or whatever. This is a 9-year-old girl who had a friendship. So, you know, the idea that she can't have a friendship with somebody that's white, to me, that's ridiculous to me. There's a difference between having a friendship and being in a relationship. And even if she was in a relationship, like if she, for instance, they're in high school or something like that, if this was high school and she was in a relationship with a white boy or whatever, despite my goal to have, black people have black pride and be, in black relationships and promote black love, I don't think that anybody should be harassed for having some interracial relationship for that alone. Like for simply, choosing to be with somebody that's of a different race. I don't think they should be subjected to harassment and bullying and all that kind of stuff, at all, but it's quite another thing if somebody is like, making derogatory comments about black men or black women and idolizing whiteness and all that kind of stuff. That kind of behavior needs to be condemned. But I don't think that somebody should be bullied and harassed for having an interracial relationship or even an interracial friendship, man. Especially if you're a kid, man, you're only 9 years old, man. It's crazy to me that people would be harassing her simply for having a white friend at a school this diverse. And I'm sure a lot of those kids had to have white friends and black friends and all that kind of stuff. Because like in those kind of environments at that young age, people, a lot of times the kids are not focused on race. They just friends with who they happen to be cool with and stuff at the time. And yeah, it just raises a lot of suspicions, man. This whole situation, it's sad, man. Yeah, that's a good question, Black First. Black First said, "Do we know how she actually hung herself? Where does a baby learn such a thing exactly?" Exactly, and the article will be in the description box for those of you who haven't read this article. But yeah, how does a 9-year-old kid know how to rig a noose to hang themselves? Like that doesn't add up to me. A 9-year-old figuring out how to create a noose to hang themselves. And where are the parents? Like how is a girl allowed to be in a situation where she's alone like that to create a noose and hang herself? Yeah, so that raises a lot of questions. And then, this point that somebody raises about black parents telling their kids to toughen up when they are victims of bullying. Um, that's something that, that's a very important point, man. A lot of times, like people just don't want to deal with the trauma that, kids are going through and stuff like that, or the struggles that people go through. They just tell them to toughen up. Or like when people are going through, and that just goes to a larger issue beyond this bullying question, but just like dealing with like depression and stuff in this society, like dealing with anxiety, depression, and other types of issues. People just tell you to be strong, to man up when it's a guy, or for a woman, they say you need to be a strong black woman and all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't allow people to heal. That doesn't allow people to get the type of counseling that they need in order to overcome these different challenges. And a lot of times people look down upon counseling in the black community, unfortunately. So we have situations like this where young people take their lives and stuff. But this whole situation, this raises all kinds of questions. So Black First wanted to know what website this story was from, what news site it's from. Well, I showed two articles early on in this hangout. One is from the Washington Post. Again, I will include a link to that article in the description box to the video. The other one is from essence.com. So you all could check those out and read them for yourself and reach your own conclusions, but it raises some serious questions. And Water Sniper said, where does a 9-year-old girl learn to hang herself? Or the idea to commit suicide? Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to know. And somebody said there are plenty, kids can hang themselves. There are plenty of stories. I'm not familiar with those stories, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, man. But I'm not familiar with those types of stories. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so somebody's saying that it's not strange black boys pick on black girls that they believe act white all the time, or that think they're white. They taunt people who, they quote unquote think they're white. And that's one of the things that they said, one of the statements that they said that the bullies were making, that she thinks she's white and all that kind of stuff. And it's possible that people may have teased her for that. It's very possible that this may be a real situation where she was subjected to, this type of racial harassment and stuff. It's possible. But like, just in my experience growing up as a kid, I don't recall anybody being teased for quote unquote talking white and all that, for being white in terms of the way they act or whatever. But that's just me, but I've heard it all the time that there are people that are teased for quote unquote acting white or talking white and all that kind of stuff, or thinking they're white. And it's very possible that that may be the case here. It's possible that there may be, that the family story is correct, but where are the receipts? Where's the proof? We can't just take somebody's word for it after the fact, after somebody's dead. Yeah, so this person is saying, I wonder why this person is really going um, Jack PPPP, whatever, however you pronounce that. This person said, it's funny that you need evidence for this, but if it was white kids being racist towards her, would you need evidence then? First of all, that's silly. Like, in most of my videos, I provide evidence. Like, there's some kind of evidence. It's not just based on like hearsay. And first of all, like I said at the beginning of this, I was unclear whether it was black kids or white kids harassing her. So to me, that wasn't like the primary focus. That wasn't what raised questions for me. The fact that it wasn't clear to begin with makes this thing questionable. The fact that there are no reports, you mean to tell me that that doesn't raise any kind of suspicions to you? The fact that these parents say that they have been complaining about this bullying for a year, and you don't have a single report at the school about this bullying taking place, that doesn't raise any kind of questions for you or any red flags for you? The fact that the police conducted an investigation and talked to the school officials, talked to the teachers, and they were unable to uncover any proof of this bullying, that doesn't raise any kind of suspicions for you? I mean, I think it's absurd for somebody not to be suspicious in that type of situation where you have no actual proof of this alleged bullying taking place. Um, and I think that the parents, like, they should come forward with their proof, come forward with the dates, and the information of when they met with the school officials, when they sent emails, when they made calls, and all that kind of stuff, instead of just throwing out some blanket statements to some kids who were harassing their daughter. Where are these kids? Who are these kids? How many kids? There's a lot of details that are missing from this story that need to be provided before I take, a position one way or the other. I'm not saying it definitely wasn't a case of bullying, and I'm not saying that there was no case of bullying. I'm just saying that we need to have more evidence before I get on here, and say, that this was in fact a situation where this girl was bullied to the point where she felt compelled to commit suicide. Um, yeah, that's possible. That they may have not have perceived him as a friend. They may have saw him as a boyfriend. And it's possible, even at that young age, you have kids talking about boyfriends and girlfriends. So that's very possible. And they may have been bullying her for quote unquote having a white boyfriend. And again, I don't condone that kind of behavior. Obviously I don't condone that behavior. And somebody said that that's why they called her. Let me show that comment so people can see it. She talked about like because she's dark skinned, that's why they called her a ugly black bitch. Well, no, she didn't say that. She said, yeah, oh yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why they called her ugly and black and all that kind of stuff. And that's very possible. You know, I'm not saying that this is impossible. I'm just saying that there are questions. Because we know that colorism is a big issue in our community. We know that kids can be very cruel. You know, a lot of times, you know, the first time I heard these colorist type of taunts was as a kid, like hearing them taunt our darker skinned friends or, you know, darker skinned students or people in the neighborhood and stuff like that. I've seen that firsthand. So I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is very real and very valid. But right now, I just need to have some kind of proof that there was, in fact, a record of them complaining about bullying. Yeah, so let's see. So somebody said every child has an iPad or a telephone now, and all they have to do is go on YouTube and search for "kill myself." It's not that hard. Man, that's the first time I heard of something like that. Let me see. I'm going to test that out, man. I'm going to see like what happens when you do that kind of search. So just bear with me a second. Let me see how to. And I hope nobody thinks that I'm trying to do, you know, somebody that searches my history get the idea I'm trying to do something. All right, let me see. Yeah, so I'm just going to share this real quick. Yeah, so when I search, I just see like songs and you know, these rock and roll songs and you know, people talking about suicide and stuff, but yeah, I think YouTube would take something like that down. Like they wouldn't allow somebody to post that kind of stuff. So I don't know about that. Your assertion about going on YouTube and finding ways to kill you, but it's possible that somebody could go online, like just do a general search and find that kind of information. But it seems crazy to me that a 9-year-old would do something like that, go on the internet and figure out how to create a noose and kill herself. I mean, it seems like far-fetched for me, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and this could be a legitimate situation where she was subjected to racist bullying and, you know, hung herself as a result. But you know, I just need more information before I go along with that narrative. Wow. So Water Sniper said a friend of his from the Virgin Islands had a 12-year-old son who committed suicide in Atlanta because people teased him for his accent. Wow, that's crazy. He went home and hanged himself. Wow, that's so sad, man. That's crazy. Wow, man, bullying is something that we need to deal with in our community as well. Um, wow, that's crazy, man, that they would call a little 9-year-old girl a black bitch because she's dark skinned. It's sad, man. Oh, somebody said, well, maybe the harassment didn't happen at school. It could have happened in the neighborhood. No, but it's like, from what I understand, the parents were saying that it happened at school, you know, from what I recall of in reading the particular articles. Yeah, so I'm going to sign out. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this particular hangout. Later on, I'm going to do another hangout. It's probably going to be this evening. It may be in an hour or two. So, just stay on notice, hit that notification bell so you'll know right away when I post the article or the video. You'll know right away as soon as I do so. So the next video will be about Jasmine Headley, this woman who was, abused by the police at a food stamp office, where they basically pinned her down and they pulled her 1-year-old child away from her. And she was jailed for various offenses and all that kind of stuff. So I plan to talk about that next. So you look out for that video. That should be up in a couple of hours. It's not going to be a video. It's going to be a hangout. So I hope that you all can join that hangout as well. Hit that notification bell, like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, recommend my channel to others, your friends, colleagues, and people that you know. So with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Again, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.